Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. Today, we are doing our first multi-guest episode and also joining you here on video. Many of you have your social media strategy and your activity going. You're probably aware, here listening because you're always looking to learn new things and doing things that you maybe haven't thought of before. So that's what this episode is about, is creating parties and events in unique, original ways that you may not have done in the past or you may not have thought of doing. So in 2019, we saw people yearning again for more face-to-face. And before that, we were like social, digital. And then 2019 is when people really started going, wait, I need to be with people like more often. And so pop-ups started happening with YouTube and Instagram creators. They started investing in these and doing face-to-faces. So the three of us, who I'll introduce you to in a moment, really advise you to kind of get out of your comfort zone from what you have been doing in the past. And we're going to give you some really great tips and ideas and also inspiration. You're doing your social media strategy, so we're going to touch also on how to, of course, integrate social media into your events by just really extending that conversation beyond the face-to-face, as we say. So we're going to break it down for you. This is going to be a series. So this is the first episode of the series. Starting from the beginning, we'll explain ideas and proven ways that work and how to weave in the social media, get your audience and guests ahead of time informed and excited and get those conversations going from the very beginning. So here I have two amazingly talented guests. As you can see, if you're joining us on the video, if not, you're missing out, no, just on the audio, but they have decades of party planning experience combined between the two of them. Mia specializes in tablescapes, which we're going to talk about a little more later, and with party planning. She throws amazing parties. And Susan consults in design, decor, and their combined passion and experience they share with us in party and event planning. So welcome, Mia and Susan. Sorry, that was such a long introduction.
Thank you. Yes.
Very good. I want to mention about the cake. So you see this amazing cake in front of you. If those of you who are just listening on the audio, it is a social media inspired, beautifully designed, locally designed here in the Alpharetta, Johns Creek area by a company called Savvy Cakes. But it's an Instagram camera on the top, like the Instagram icon, with our company logo. I'll also show y'all podcast logo on the top, custom, and then beautiful integrated colors with some social media kind of flair, I guess you could say. So this is going to be more related to our second episode, which will be released next Wednesday. But we just wanted to show it to you because it's so amazing. Let you know how it's weaved into what we're going to be talking about today and even more next week. And stay to the end of this episode to hear more about tablescapes and cakes, which is the second part of this series. So welcome, Mia and Susan. Thank you so much for being here today. Can you start out by telling us a little bit about your party planning, event planning background? Just couple words about yourself.
Sure. So hi, thank you so much for having me, Carrie. So my background is in private parties, fundraising for anything from like sports teams to schools, big time school gala fundraising, and everything in between. So that's the short version.
Yes.
And I'm Susan Gerber. Thank you, Carrie, for having me. I am an interior decorator, but I've always had a passion for party planning, event planning, and just creating spaces for people to gather and connect and engage and just have good conversation.
Awesome.
And I'm going to talk a little bit about the social media side of engaging your target audience for timeline-wise when you want to send out information.
Yes, that's not always easy, or it kind of takes people by surprise. So very good. Well, I guess I'll start out by saying that, frequently business owners hold some kind of regular annual event, and maybe even a couple or a few, and they just get used to having that. And it's great because their customers anticipate that. But as we kind of get maybe people that want to get a little bit out of their comfort zone to kind of capitalize on opportunities that are out there by maybe meeting more of their customers, bringing in prospects, whatever it may be, whatever that vision or kind of interest is. How would you say, like, how far in advance, where should they start? Like, should they look, to next year necessarily? Is it too late? And kind of where do they start?
Go ahead.
I would say it's 2020. So I would say let's get the calendar out. Let's sit down with your team. And if you have some parties or product launches or something that you know for sure that you want to happen this year, to definitely let's sit down, get that on the calendar. And then I think, we can help through all social y'all, walk you through those steps from beginning to end. But the main thing is like getting that momentum by putting it on the calendar. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. Thinking ahead.
Yeah.
Definitely making a plan and sticking to it. Yeah.
Good. Okay. Well, when planning something unique, like what factors would you say would be considered before you map out any details, like with that passion and the vision?
Yes, I'll say from my perspective, what I would say after your initial meeting with the client, if you're doing a private party or if you're doing a fundraiser or if you're doing a company event, your theme is, I think, hugely important to pick out and have a goal like in mind of what you're going to make it about. I don't know, you can interject now.
Right. Like what, meeting with that client or meeting with your team or your business and, what is the goal? What is the concept? What is the ends to the means? Is it a holiday party? Are we trying to increase employee momentum? Are we trying to increase our networking with our clientele? What is the goal? So once we have that goal and that vision, then we can create the theme and then basically go through a checklist from there to create the event.
Instead of kind of reverse saying, oh, I think luau party would be really fun. It's summertime. Let's do that. You're not really thinking about necessarily what that outcome that you're seeking and what it's going to do for the business per se.
Right.
Good point. So what is one, I know this is something both of you are amazing at. What is one of the biggest keys or essential secrets to making everyone come, as many people want to come, that they're full of anticipation ahead of time to attend? It's not just your everyday blah. They feel like they have to go, and they're in making that event really memorable.
I would say definitely getting them involved. Getting employees involved, if you're in, involving or in inviting potential clients, getting them involved, getting that momentum going. Susan has great ideas on how to make that happen.
Yeah, just getting people excited about the event.
Yeah.
So putting out teasers, what it's going to be about, and don't put everything out in one, full up. Just give little teasers. Don't say what it's going to be about. Just say it's going to be a huge, amazing event that's coming up and you're going to want to be there. You don't want to miss it. And just putting every so often on a social media side of it and just getting people engaged and saying, oh, interested, getting their interest piqued. And
so what kind of visuals, like you might have like a picture maybe of the venue, if it's maybe a golf setting or
Yes,
something
I
like?
mean, every situation will be so unique to what event is happening. But if it is, let's say you said luau, we're going to have a luau. So definitely you want pictures, anything that's visual for sure. And to send out teasers, no one wants to read anything. Everyone just wants a visual. And if you're going to have a luau, then you can just put it, make it about the luau and just flowers or send out, and
Any kind of dress code, it would be maybe
relevant.
relevant.
put out in details, I think, closer to the event, I would say.
You could add like a really fun hashtag and just go
Right.
off of that.
Hashtag
so then
huge.
all the teasers go with
Definitely.
that. And
Yes.
then it
From
just
the beginning, you should have a hashtag for sure.
so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would definitely do the hashtag.
So I'm going to just, for people that don't know, talk a little bit about hashtags. So I think a lot of people do know. So I'm not sorry if like you guys are like, oh, of course that's basic. But just real quick for people that don't realize how powerful hashtags are, is if you make a custom hashtag for your party or even ones that are tied to other such events or kind of in spirit, if it's a certain time of year or something like that. But if you have that hashtag, what people do when they go onto Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn now even, is they will put that hashtag in the search bar because it's something that they're interested in, and up will come your content. And so it helps you be more found. Or if, let's say, you invite someone and then a few weeks go by and they're kind of foggy on the details, but they remember that one thing, like
Right,
that it's a
right.
luau party, or
very
it's
important.
it's going to be featuring these amazing cakes or something like that stands out in their mind. They can put that in and it will come, your content will come up. So it's just easier to be found. And it also allows you to see other people that have made posts about it.
Well, y'all know from like my adult Christmas parties, like I'll use my last name as the hashtag and put the Merry part of it, and then the year, and then that pulls up. And then our girl parties, we use a different hashtag, and and that's super fun for us too. So we change it up every year, and it's fun for us.
Yeah, like if you're a spa or dermatologist, or, I'm not trying to be sexist, but I'm just saying, like, if it's girly things or if it's a guy dude thing, like, you can put in hashtags that are fun.
For them anyway.
Exactly.
Trout and beer 2020. You know what I mean?
you want.
With some
As feminine as
emojis.
you
You
want.
know what I mean? With with the fish and the beer and the fishing line. And then it'll pull up every year.
Yeah.
Like Smith Trout and Beer 2020. Just as an example. But
Yeah, hey, I love it. But one word that I've heard both of you refer to a lot of is this vibe. Like, and it's kind of a squishy word, but and I know what it's like because I am social, and I'm lucky that I have been to both of your gatherings in the past. But how do you decide what you want your vibe to be? Like, I know you think of it as formal or rustic or things like that, but can you talk a little bit about how your thinking goes with kind of knowing what your vibe is going to be? Because it helps you achieve what that outcome is going to be in the feeling part of the party.
Right. I'll just say, first of all, I totally depends. If you're doing a company corporate event, that vibe is going to obviously be very more professional side. And if you're doing a personal party, Christmas, birthday, Halloween, whatever, then that's going to be, I think, a totally different vibe. So it just depends what side you're going to and what you need to cater to. So let's say you are doing a personal party, you're doing a Christmas party. So that vibe obviously speaks for itself, I feel.
and formal and festive.
Yeah. Yeah.
And some business owners have their customers come to their family, like they get so close to their customers.
Yeah.
And then I know I listened to this one podcast where this realtor does multiple events every year, and he grew his events from like 70 people up to like 5,000. And he did like a 4th of July party, an Easter egg thing where he had Easter egg like plastic things with candy coming from the sky from a helicopter because his friend owned a helicopter company.
That's pretty amazing. I know.
That's a good idea. I know. Put that on my list.
Yeah. And so, of
pretty
course,
amazing.
family and neighbors attend that every year, but he wants his. Now, realtor, it's a little bit different too because you want your friends to help you sell your home.
Right,
Susan,
right.
you're in that industry too. So, but I'm just bringing it up because I think Susan's totally accurate where there are times when your corporate event needs to be very corporate and it's a big investment and everyone needs to be on their best behavior as far as employees attending and whatnot. And then there's, your personal parties as a business person wanting to celebrate with your family and because your family is a huge support of you being an entrepreneur and that's super important. And then there are other times where it's a blend.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So is that anything else about Vibe before I move on?
Yeah, I would say the vibe also besides formal and informal is the time of year. Is it, what's the occasion? Is it a wedding? Is it a business event? What's the season? Things like that.
True.
Budget.
Because when we're sweaty
Budget
and
is so part of everything.
budget.
Budget is is it a pool party or is it,
Right.
a gala,
right, do what you can afford and
yeah.
what you feel like is going to be the outcome. And there's not a lot of ROI always out of events and parties that you can measure specifically. Like, oh, I had him at the party and then he bought from me. It needs to be thought about more as like a kind of part of your company customer experience delivery that you're hosting these really wonderful things. You rent out like a comedy club or whatever it is that people feel taken care of. They feel like you're treating them really special.
Yes.
That's cool. So as far as checklists go, if you haven't thrown a lot of parties or you've been stuck in your rut with the same old party, I'm not trying to minimize the parties that you do every year, but okay, I'm going to get myself out and do something different this year. Are there a few things that they should remember to kind of use as a checklist of depending on the time of year and the budget and whatnot?
Are you asking what are the trends for 2020 for party planning or?
Kind of, sure. Yeah. That's a really good, actually. I didn't mean it directly to that because, we've already kind of talked about them, budget, time of year, what is your vision and your outcome. But yeah, maybe you do want to do something that's no one else has done before, or 2020 is a new decade. Right. So what are people doing? I don't even know.
Yeah.
So
New Roaring 20s.
we can share this answer. Some of the new trends are the minimalistic, industrial chic vibe. Ooh. So you're getting away from the country club and, you're trying to find kind of open spaces where you can see the HVAC pipes that are just open and you spend less money on all the shishi stuff. And, you really spend your dollars on that pop of that surprise element, whether it's a green wall or, they're doing really cool stuff with lighting these days.
True.
They're saying less chairs are better so that people mingle and it's not just comfortable to sit down. You know what I'm saying? Unless obviously
maybe
you're
you
having a
provide
sit down dinner.
dancing or some kind of entertainment where they want to stand and watch.
Yeah. Whatever. They say icebreakers are great for when people come in. They say cocktail tables are actually good. So people gather at these cocktail tables and you have either little cards you read on the table, questions or whatever. They're always great icebreakers.
Interactive.
Anything that
people
involves,
interactive.
Anything that
Colors.
involves
The colors have changed so that it's basically white or gray. And then you bring in live mediums like flowers or greenery as your pop of color, or that that light element, whether it's, I don't know if it would be candles or what kind of
there's so many different ways you could go. Yeah.
fiber optics or
Yeah.
I don't know that word for that.
Or LED lights or
LED lights. Yeah. all those lights that you
signs and-
see
yeah.
at Christmas time that people can have at the front of their house, you know?
Yeah.
Totally. So, well, and we're going to get into more detail later in the series and then in the next episode. But that's you guys gave me some great ideas that I had not thought of. And, I was thinking too, when you were saying like icebreakers, is that I had a party at the end of last year, and there were a few people that came alone. And I was so glad they did. Their spouse wasn't available, or someone that I knew that they knew didn't come or whatever. And I introduced and I tried, but the host and hostess can only do so much, right? And sometimes they're kind of left, and it kind of just helps them start talking with some other people that are there at the party. So I love that idea.
Definitely.
So about the food. What would you say are the most important things to think about how customers will feel at a party when it comes to presentation or even logistics of how they'll experience the food?
We both think the same with this. So
I'll
you
let
can
you
go
an-
ahead.
I'll let you
I was say you can go ahead and answer.
Okay. Well, the trend is to make sure, because everybody's more health conscious, to have plant-based options and, of course, gluten-free, and then be conscious of allergies. So
So just having an offering and then putting like a little tag that says gluten free, or do you ask them ahead of time so you know who's who?
depends
I guess
on
if
your
it's
budget.
plated.
Depends on your budget.
Right.
But, you need to make sure it depends on, your guests. And if you don't know your guests, then you need to have an array
Yeah. Yes. Labeled.
Yes. Yeah, I'd say label everything.
and be safe.
Definitely.
And if not, have some EpiPens in the back.
Well, now I've been to some.
Just in case.
I missed that at first. And then I caught it. That was funny. No. So I've been to some of your parties, and I like how you do like you integrate the food theme into the theme sometimes. And it doesn't have to be totally related. But like if you do sushi, then there's other offerings that kind of relate to the sushi vibe. You know what I mean? Like you won't do sushi and then like throw some chicken nuggets out.
Right.
Like the alcohol drinks? Or?
But that too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Anything else with kind of thinking about how to center in on your menu?
Well, I think like your desserts and all of that, like you can, that could be like your overall theme. If you're doing Chinese, then you can follow that course.
Yeah.
Christmas, obviously, we did the elf cake, and
Yes, that was
and
so
the
cute.
Christmas hashtag and things like that. And Pinterest is such a great source
It really
for
is.
ideas, and it's free.
Really is.
Like get on Pinterest.
I
It's
love
free.
Pinterest.
And it's such a great resource.
Put in any search word and you'll get your answer. I'd say another good thing with food is if you are a company throwing an event and you want to incorporate your company name or whatever, if you're doing a product launch or whatever, if you have a custom drink made for the event.
Oh, I love that
And
idea.
then, like, you do that often actually. You have a drink that's associated with the evening, and it could be whatever your company name is. You can make it something teeny, whatever you have, and then you have that specific drink. You have stations where bartenders are making that, and that's a great way to get it.
Me too. And you can work with your venue on helping you get that together. Or you can
Oh
even
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah.
Great. So what are some cool ideas guests and employees at business events have loved? Like things that have been memorable or unique, like
I would say takeaways are awesome. Anything that someone can take away,
Swag bags.
Yes. She's the queen of swag.
Swags.
Yeah.
yes.
So yeah, and like if you were doing, I think we have a surprise element for next week as our all social y'all. It's like a tongue twister for me to say.
It is. I'm sorry.
I need to come up with my own hashtag for all social y'all. Being Cuban, Italian, I can't say all social y'all. We have swag for next week as an example.
Oh.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's a teaser for you.
Oh my gosh.
There's a teaser.
I can't wait to see it.
But even just like a girls' party, like making like homemade bath salts, like Epsom salts with a couple drops of like lemon
Yeah.
essence, and you put those in mason jars, and
Yeah.
little
Very
little
simple,
bow,
but
little love you by you know, but just like little things like that.
Yeah, for sure. And if you're talking about on the corporate side of it for companies, I think photo booths are always such a, and people walk away with a little strip of the pictures, and you just have little, gimmicks, whatever you can put on. And that's always a great idea. I think it involves people engage together, and
What a great
you can walk
memory.
away with a little picture. Yeah.
Yeah. What a great memory.
So when you say photo booth, I'm just going to break this down for people that are kind of like, huh? Like you mean those things where you can rent
Right.
and
There's-
people go in and they get those
yeah,
strips?
yeah.
That is out there. You can rent those
do
for
that.
parties, and people do it for weddings even.
Yes.
But you can also get backdrops off of like,
Party City. You can go to Party City, walk in there. They have backdrops. They have little props you can buy, and you have a instant photo booth with, it costs you maybe $20 if that.
yes. And I went
Super
on
easy and
they're vinyl often, like this thin vinyl, like throwaway table cover material. And when I got one, it had the wrinkles still in it. And so I went on YouTube to figure out, how do I iron out the wrinkles? And you actually take a spray, like a little spray bottle, and then your iron, and you can go over, and it takes that.
I
It
learned
takes
something.
Now don't melt. Go on YouTube and see the details, but it totally worked.
I love that.
But yeah, you can do a photo booth for close to nothing, and and you can get little props that people can use, like mustaches, something that's related to your theme. Okay, one of the last questions because we're starting to run out of time, is down to the who, like the guest list. Like, where do you start? How do you incorporate the communication, and what are some maybe new things or best practices, however you guys think of it?
So LinkedIn, if on the business side, LinkedIn just came out, with a, on their community tab, a way for you to link your network of your LinkedIn friends and create an event. And LinkedIn then will let you create the event, put all the specifics in, and then from there it will send out kind of like Evite or Facebook it'll blast it out, and then from there it will remind them to RSVP. It will allow those guests that you've invited to your event to also, if you allow them, to then invite their guests, which then is like a second tier of social networking for you, for your event.
Awesome.
Yeah. And so that's like totally new. So that's pretty exciting. So that's kind of something that people should check out.
For sure. I know I've had corporate parties where I've said, bring someone I'm completely fine with that. And one of my friends, Diane, she wrote me before the last party I had, and she said, I have these business friends who are, would be really great. I've been wanting to introduce you. Would you mind if I brought them? And I said no, but she had to type me. And whereas on LinkedIn, she could have just shot me a note, tagged them,
Right.
boom, done. They're in on all the communications.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the day, you have if you were doing maybe like a tapas, open bar, or you were just doing like a brunch, coffee and donuts, you would know how many people have RSVP'd,
count,
including her friends. So
Yeah. Oh, great point. I didn't think of that. And this too, y'all. Mia and Susan reminded me earlier when we were kind of talking about what we were going to share with you, that parties don't just mean outside and external. I know you've mentioned employees and stuff, but just maybe doing something different in your cafeteria or in your regions and different offices, a traveling kind of gathering that you do at each major office or something. So it can definitely be an employee building, or intertwine a little bit of training with it, but then make it something really special and things that your employees
great
will get.
hashtag for that would be pop-up party.
Yeah,
You're doing it
I love
traveling
that.
through cafeterias or whatever.
Or pop up 9 to 5 on Friday. See you there.
Happy hour.
Happy Friday.
I love it.
And then as the business owner, maybe you just bring in bagels and coffee, but
Right.
it still is
But it's something
doing
out of the
something
box,
nice
yeah.
and acknowledging them,
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to scooch this in here. So it's not right between
Yeah, I
you.
think so.
So this beautiful cake, was again made by Savvy Cakes. Savannah Johnston is the owner in this area, but I'm sure for people that are tuning in from elsewhere could find a really custom cake builder in their area. But it's, like I said, featuring a little more a visual for you about how outrageous for like not that crazy amount of a price. And people are going to love to get pictures next to it. So we're going to bring to you, Susan and Mia, more of their ideas next week in Tablescapes and Cakes episode. We're not going to talk just about cakes as far as desserts go, but Tablescapes, if you don't know what Tablescapes are, tune in next week so that you do. Thank you, everyone, for being here. And thank you so much, Susan and Mia.
Oh, it's so fun. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.